Today I am reading from the 10th book in the Left Behind series, and the name of this book is The Remnant on the Brink of Armageddon. Today I'm reading chapter 11. The report from Mac allowed Chang to breathe easier for the first time in hours. He checked back to Carpathia's office where Akbar was debriefing the big boss. We've had a setback, but there's no way this bunch can. A setback? Without going into all the details, sir, the hostage killed one of our people, a woman, and has escaped. We assume he's on the run with the three who he killed one of his captors. Yes, Highness, we assume my kind of a man. Why cannot he be on our side? We assume, sir, that he is reconnecting with the three who came for him, and we're hoping they will be foolish enough to try to get back to the airport. We have that sealed tight. Yes, well, Carpathia sounded distracted, as if the rest of the story was not as interesting. Suhail, how was damage control today? Too early to tell, sir. Come, I count on you as one who does not try to simply appease me. They heard the pilot's report, and my telling them he was mistaken, that the bombs had missed their targets. Well, what are people saying? I honestly don't know, Excellency. I have spent my entire day between your office and my own trying to ride herd on this grease thing. Let me tell you this, Suhail. The disc from the plane clearly shows direct hits and those traitors burning. Whatever is the magic that allows those people to survive simply cannot extend outside that area. Begging your pardon, but not that long ago, we lost ground troops outside. I know that, Suhail. Do you think I do not know that? Apologies, Potent. I want us to find the safe place surrounding that area where we have not seen our weapons of war swallowed up by the earth and from which we can stop all traffic in and out. They will need supplies, and we must see that they do not get them. Our armed forces have been so decimated, sir. Are you telling me we have no pilots or planes that can cut off supplies to Petra? No, sir. I'm sure we can do that. Ah, on another matter, sir, our ancient text experts say that the next curse could be that the lakes and rivers of the world fall into the same predicament as the seas. Fresh water sources all turn to blood. Yes, sir. Impossible. Everyone would die, even our enemies. There are those who believe the Judites will be protected as they have been against our forces recently. Where will they get their water? The same place they got their protection. Perhaps there is wisdom in negotiating with their leader to have the curses lifted. Never. Not to be contrary, sir, but we cannot survive long with this devastation. And if the rivers and lakes do also turn, you are not aware of everything, Suhail. I too have supernatural power. I have seen it, sir. You will see more. Reverend Fortunato is prepared to match the wizardry of the Judites blow for blow, and he has design- designates who can do this around the world. Well, that. Now show me what I want to see, Suhail. North roadblock. This is Central. Roadblock, Max said. Go ahead, Central. Disposition of suspicious truck. Repeat. One of our squads reported that your first stop after they passed was a truck. Affirmative. Clean. Traveling west to east? Affirmative. We traced a cell phone to the west side of the city and then east before losing it. Mac looked at George. What do they want to hear? You know nothing about that. Mac transmitted. Can't help you there. Truck proceeded east? Roger that. You reported lots of traffic. 10-4. Busy? Affirmative. Squad said they saw nothing but the truck when they passed. Busy now? What's your 10-20 roadblock? Mac looked at George again. They're on to us. George pulled the weapons from beneath the seat and Rayford's walkie-talkie from his pocket. Jenna, Irene, be advised. We'll soon have company. Mac clicked the GC radio button a few times. Repeat, he said. Your 1020 roadblock. What's your location? Chang froze. He had been nearly dozing, listening to Carpathia and Akbar sparring, while they watched reports from the United North American States and the United South American States. He had not kept up with the Potomac project. The local GC had traced Elena's cell phone to the west side of the city, and it had remained in one location for more than an hour. Commander Nelson Stefanak and the survivors of the Philosopher team were personally leading the raid on a pub in that area. He phoned Mac. Talk fast, Chang. We may be in deep weeds here. How far west of the city are you? Not sure. I've had this thing floored, but I don't think it goes faster than 50. They chasing us? Are you too far from the co-op to help them? Depends. What's up? GC's raiding the pub right now. You know the next thing to go will be the co-op. Any chance they go out? They got out? Can't imagine. I couldn't warn them. I'm guessing we're less than 30 minutes from our plane. We'll go back if you think we can help. Hang on. A report's coming through. Judite underground discovered beneath pub. Firefight. 16 GC dead and another dozen injured. Building grenaded and torched. Several adjacent buildings destroyed. No enemy survivors. While Mac filled in George, the GC continued to try to reach Mac on the radio, asking for some kind of a code. We've blocked off both ends of the North Road due to the raid, so wrap it up, they said. Still need you all clear code. George looked devastated and tried to grab the GC radio from Mac. I'll give him an all clear code. Take it easy, friend. This was my fault, Mac. What was I thinking, hanging on to that phone? I wish we could have gone back, Mac said. I'd like to have taken out a few of them myself. But our brothers and sisters are in heaven, and it sounds like they put up some kind of a fight. That's it, George said. We're supposed to feel good because I got a bunch of people killed and now they're in heaven. Need the all clear code now, the radio said. I ought to tell them it's Psalms 94:1, Mac said. I know what I'd like to tell them. Have the women stop and we'll get those GC to tell us the code. They'd probably give away where we are. Not with the DEW staring them in the face. Let me get them out. Get it out of them, Mac. Please, I've got to do this. Chloe, pull it over, Mac said. Right now? Right now. We okay? Temporarily. Mac's phone chirped. Chang, Stefanak and Plato and a bunch of GC are looking for the truck and the 2 GC squads. They're heading west. Let's make this quick, Mac said, jumping out as Chloe emerged and Hannah pulled up behind. Pop that trunk, Chloe, George said, and Hannah, let me have the DEW. Chloe opened the trunk and Mac shone a flashlight in on the nearly wasted peacekeeper. George pulled him from the trunk with one hand, and he lay crying on the ground. Blisters, he sobbed. Careful, please, or kill me. You'd like that, wouldn't you? George said, wielding the DEW. See this? The man opened one eye and nodded miserably. This is what cooks your flesh, and there's plenty more juice in it. Please, no. George turned it on, and the thing whirred to life. Please. He aimed it at the man's ankle, and the man stiffened, whining. Give me your all clear code. What? You heard me. Give me the all clear, or it's in the glove box in my book. Chloe went to check. She brought back a small black leather ring binder. It's full of all kinds of notes, she said. George took it and dropped it onto the man. We've got to get rolling, Max said. They're never going to buy the all clear from us now anyway. They're on their way. These guys are dead weight, George said. Maybe we can slow the others by leaving them here in the road. The man was ripping through the pages. He gingerly held the notebook up to the light from the truck's head. It's 11648, he said. George dragged him onto the road while Mac brought the other from the other car. The men lay writhing. Just kill us, the second one pleaded. You don't know what you're asking, George said. Bad as this is, trust me, you should prefer it. Leave one of the cars here, Max said. Block the road with it and the truck. It won't take the GC long to get around them, but any slowdown has to help. Chloe maneuvered one car nose to nose with the truck across the highway. Then they ripped out the distributor caps from both vehicles and took the keys. Last call for clear code, the radio said. Mac hollered it in the mic then. Chloe, you drive and keep it to the floor. I'll ride shotgun. I don't expect them to catch us now, but everybody stay armed and ready. George put the DEW in the trunk and climbed in the back with Hannah. The economy car was too small for the four of them and seemed to groan with the weight, but Chloe soon had the thing chugging along at over 70 miles an hour. George said, So Mac, what's Psalm 94:1? Mac turned as far as he could in the seat. Oh God, he said, to whom vengeance belongs, shine forth. The GC radio came to life again. We need an immediate 1020. Personnel on the North Road report zero traffic and no sign of you. Give me that, George said, pulling it from Mac's hand. He mashed the button. Yeah, you'll find us at Psalm 94:1. Chang fixed himself some tea, adding a strange concoction that included instant coffee with the highest concentrate of caffeine he could find. He would crash when this ordeal was over, but he couldn't risk dozing now. It was clear the Greek GC had a bead on his people, and it wouldn't be long before they figured out Mac must have a plane at the abandoned strip not 20 minutes more up the road. He certainly wasn't going to escape into Albania. How long would it take Mac and his people to board, and how far could they get before needing to refuel? Meanwhile, from what Chang could hear, Carpathia was at least entertained, if not totally distracted, by feeds from his regions where it was still daytime. The potent for Region Zero, the United South American States, announced an event he said his wife, the First Lady, was personally attending right then. And where are you while she is doing your work? Carpathia asked. Oh, my Reverend Risen One, you may rest assured that I am doing the greater work. We have taken you at your word regarding the effort to root out infidels here, and I am working closely with our peacekeepers and morale monitors as well as with civilian undercover groups. We expect to have dozens more face the guillotine or take your mark within 24 hours. Dozens, my dear friend. We are hearing from your compatriots around the world that some are finding hundreds, even thousands, who will suffer for their disloyalty. Some are stepping up efforts even in our part of the world in the dark of night. The South American side, sir, sadly, we are so dependent on the seas that our forces have been dramatically reduced. But surely so have your descendants, have they not? That is true, but please allow me to take you live to Uruguay, where my wife attends the public ceremony culminating in loyalty enforcement. Chang switched quickly to Mac and his crew. Nothing new. Then tapped into the video feed from the United South American States. The First Lady was receiving enthusiastic applause. She had her arm around a shy-looking middle-aged man. This gentleman is finally getting his mark of loyalty to our risen potentate. More cheering. And tell us, Andres, what took you so long? I was afraid, he said, smiling. Afraid of what? The needle. Many laughed and cheered. But you will do it today? A very small yes, he said. You are no longer afraid of the needle? Yes, I am still, but I fear the blade much more. The crowd cheered and continued to applaud as Andres sat stiffly for the application of the mark. His forehead was swabbed. Someone held his hand. The machine was applied, and he looked genuinely relieved and happy. The First Lady said, "You may now return to what you were doing when you were discovered without the mark." The camera followed Andre as he ran back to the image of Carpathia and fell to his knees before it. The First Lady told the crowd, "Andres avoided detection for so long because he obeyed the decree to worship the image, and no one suspected." Carpathia did not seem impressed. "He worships me, and yet he is afraid of a little pinprick. Ugh! But you will be most pleased, Potent," the South American leader said. "Following the leads of several royal citizens, we have uncovered a den of opposition. 6 were killed when they resisted arrest, but 13 have been brought to this worship and enforcement center." "How many will take the mark now?" Carpathia said. "How many have had their attitudes adjusted by the very presence of the loyalty enforcement facilitator?" "Well, actually none so far, sir." Chang heard a first slam. "Stubborn," Carpathia said. "So stubborn. Why are these people so resolute, so stupid, so short-sighted? Today they will pay, Highness. Right now, even as we speak." Carpathia's voice evidenced his excitement. "Yes, right now." "What is the music?" "The condemned ones hum and sing, my lord. It is not uncommon." "Shut them up." "One moment, excuse me, sir." He called to someone in the background. "George, communicate to the officers at the site that the Supreme Potent does not allow the music." "Yes, now. Your Highness, it will be stopped." "These have definitely chosen the blade." "They have, sir. They are in line." "What are we waiting for?" "Only to carry out your wish to stop the music, sir." "Get on with it. The blade will silence them." Chang recoiled when he saw a guard with a huge rifle and bayonet nudging the first person in line, a woman who appeared to be in her late 20s. She was singing, her face turned toward heaven. The guard yelled at her, but she did not acknowledge. He bumped her and she stumbled, but still she sang, eyes upward. He jabbed her in the ribs with the butt of the rifle and she dropped to one knee, then rose and continued singing. Now he set himself to her side, planted his feet, and drove the bayonet through her arm and into her side. She cried out as the bayonet was removed, and she reached with her other hand to press it over the wound. Her singing now came in sobs as the people behind her fell to their knees. "What is she singing?" Carpathia demanded. The sound was enhanced, and Chang found himself breathless as he listened to the woman's pitiful, labored singing. She could no longer hold up her head, but she stood wobbling, clearly woozy, struggling to sing. "Did her such love and sorrow meet, or thorns compose so rich a crown?" The guard was joined by others, swinging the stocks of their rifles at the heads of those who bowed. "Tell the guards to stop making a spectacle of it," Carpathia raged. "They are playing right into these people's hands. Let the crowd see that no matter what they do or say or sing, still their heads belong to us." The guillotine was readied as the woman continued to force out the lyrics, though she had long since lost the tune. As she was grabbed by guards on each side and wrestled into place, she cried out, "Demands my soul, my life, my all." The blade dropped and the crowd erupted. "Oh," Carpathia sighed, "can we not see from the other side?" "The other side, sir," the South American Potent repeated. "Of the blade, of the blade. Get a camera around there. The body does not drop, it merely collapses. I want to see the head drop." The next several in line approached the killing machine with their palms raised. The guards kept grabbing their elbows and pulling down their arms, but the condemned kept raising them. The guards slashed at their hands with bayonets, but the people instinctively moved and mostly avoided being cut. The guards moved in behind them and prodded them with bayonet points in the lower back. Now the camera moved around behind a man who held a safety lever with one hand and used the other to grab the hair of the victim and pull the head into place. He lowered the restraining bar onto the neck, let go of the lever, and nodded to a matronly woman. She yanked at the release cord. The blade squealed against the guides as it dropped in a flash, and the head fell out of sight, blood erupting from the neck. That is more like it, Carpathia whispered. We're home free, aren't we? Hannah said. Mac turned to look at her. My plane has about enough fuel to get us to Rome. There's a small airstrip south of there manned by co-op people who stockpile fuel. I'm not going to feel safe until we take off from there. But these people, I mean, she said, they'll never reach this airport before we do, will they? Not in cars. What are you saying? George said. It won't take them long to guess where we're going. They won't think we're trying to beat them in the border by car. Your plane hidden? From auto traffic, sure. From the air? No. How long would it take them to fly here? Out of Kazana in a fighter, they could beat us there. Could they destroy your plane? Only if they get there first. How much personnel could they bring? Not many if they use a small, quick plane. George sounded irritated. This has been too much work to see it fail now, Mac. Let's get it all on the table. You hoping we just showed up, climbed aboard, and take off? That's the only plan I got, Mac said. We got to figure they'll beat us there, George said, and decide what to do about that. You want to assume the worst? Of course, we have to. You think I got away from these idiots by hoping they'd let me go? Tell me about this airstrip. Runs east and west. I'm at the east end facing west. If they can get a plane in there before we take off, all they have to do is get in our way. Let's get in their way first, Max said. I'll dump you guys at the plane. You get the engines warm while I drive out onto the runway and sit directly in our path. They're going to have to be pretty crafty and flexible to avoid hitting me on landing. When we take off, we angle enough to miss the car and them, and we're gone. George shook his head. And when do you board? You're leaving a lot to chance. Leaving it to God, George. I don't know what else to do. Mac's phone buzzed. Go, Chang. They're in a jet 10 minutes from touchdown. Stepanok, the 3 philosophers, and a pilot. Plane does not appear to be offensively equipped, but they are heavily armed. We're closer than that, Max said. We just have to beat them, that's all. He asked Chloe if she could get any more out of the little car, but it was whining as it was, speeding along on a bad road. When we get there, get off the road and come in on the east end. Mac was giving Sebastian instructions about the plane when he thought he heard the scream of jet engines in the distance. He and George rolled down their windows to listen. That's our clearing, Chloe. Easy. She whipped off the road, down into a ravine, and up on the other side. The car bounced and jerked, and Mac's head hit the ceiling. Use your brights. I have no idea what's out there. Am I going to be able to get through those trees? She said. Assume you will. Just get us there. Chloe hit a rocky patch that threw the car into the air. When it landed, the left rear tire blew. Great, she said. At least it's in the back, George said. Stand on it. With the brights on, Chloe saw only uneven, rocky terrain up to a thick grove of trees. She couldn't imagine a way through, but there was no turning back now. The left rear side was dragging from the flat as if someone had dropped an anchor. It didn't help that Sebastian, the biggest person in the car, sat back there. With the jet looming, Chloe wished she could kill the lights and just plow on through. But it had all come down to timing and determination. These were the people who had killed her comrades and who would now snuff out this little surviving band of tribulation forcers without a thought. Chloe had wanted action, to be in the thick of it, and though she would do whatever it took to get back to Buck and Kenny, she was already long past any option but reckless. Caution, diplomacy, trickery, that was all out the window now. She had to get to that plane, and they had to take off, or none of them would see the sun rise again. She picked her way through the trees, only occasionally lifting her foot from the accelerator. The little car had front-wheel drive, a small blessing in a bad situation. Making her own path, she smacked the car against a tree, first on one side, then the other, and kept going. Now she could see Mac's plane, but a 3-wire fence was in the way. Slowing even a bit could make the car get tangled in it. She glanced at Mac, who braced himself with a palm on the ceiling. He merely nodded at the fence as if she had no choice. Chloe kept the accelerator down and the car caught the lower wire made the top two slip over the hood, pulled a wood post from the ground, and snapped its way through the edge of the runway 40 feet from the plane. Banking at the other end came the GC jet, landing lights illuminating the strip all the way to the car. And that is the end of chapter 11. Next, we'll be reading chapter 12. Thank you for joining me and have a wonderful day.